It's Inside the Huddle here on Maple Grove Voice, presented by Twin Cities Orthopedics. Thanks for taking the time to check out today's podcast. We get back to school tomorrow as we record this on Tuesday night. Plenty of activities going on, including a big game in the Northwest Suburban Conference. Osseo hosting Park Center tomorrow in a big one. And we've got head coach of the Osseo Orioles, Tim Theisen, on the flip side of our break to talk all things Oriole basketball. But first, let's kind of rewind just a little bit. Bottom part of your story here today, you're going to have some links that you can check out the tournament action over the holiday break, and we've kind of recapped all that for you, so you have that nice and tidy right below. As you listen to this podcast, you go ahead and click on those links and check out how your favorite teams did over the holiday break. And in addition, we've listed out the game schedule this week for all teams involved. Let's take a time out. When we come back, we chat with head coach Tim Theisen, the flight of the Orioles in 2017-2018, where they stand after 6 games and none at home. Of course, as you listen to this, Wednesday will be the first home game against, as we mentioned, Park Center, big game in the Northwest Suburban Conference. You're listening to Inside the Huddle, presented by Twin Cities Orthopedics.
It takes a lot to bring down a Minnesota Vikings player, but when an injury occurs, a Twin Cities Orthopedics physician is on the field and ready to assess the situation. TCO is the official sports medicine provider of the Minnesota Vikings and proud to be a part of the new home of the Minnesota Vikings in Eagan. Best yet, the community can see the same great doctors at one of our 40 clinic locations across the metro. Visit TCOMN.com to learn more. TCOMN.com.
All right, so hanging out, Maple Grove Voice back inside the huddle, hanging out with head coach of the Osseo Orioles boys basketball team, Tim Theisen. Start of the year, we're off and running and past the holiday break. How have things gone? Catch us up on kind of the state of the state.
Sure. So currently we are 4-2. It has been one of the craziest scheduling conflicts that I've had in my 16 years coaching. We've only played 6 games, had 26 days of practice and only 6 games. So we've put a lot of emphasis on practices, not so much with the games. All of our games have been on the road as well. So it's really kind of a learning experience to see what these kids are or how they're going to play, how they're gelling with teammates. But through the 6 games, we are 4-2. We're starting to figure out a little bit of items here with the basketball team, but we also still haven't found kind of our niche yet. We've had 6 games, 5 different starting lineups. So we're constantly configuring things out right now, but hopefully now it's January. We got to correct this ship and keep moving it in the right direction. We start the Northwest Suburban Conference play. It's always going to be tough, game in and game out there. So, but for the most part, 4-2, we're happy with where we're at, and the kids are giving us everything that we ask. So it's been good so far.
This is at the website Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. So you've opened the Northwest Suburban against Park Center. You talked about it, that everything's been on the road. That is a weird thing, to be a month plus into the season and not to have had a home game. Chat me up on that. Does that help? Does that hurt? I mean, do you kind of, because I know you took a trip up north over Christmas, over the holiday break, which kind of brings your team closer. Mm-hmm. When you play road games versus being at home, it is a different animal for the kids, right?
Oh, no doubt about it. And the mindset has been difficult, because you're constantly on the road. The kids want to play at home. They want to play in front of their classmates. They want to play in front of their parents, and they haven't had that opportunity yet. 4 of our games have been 100 miles away, and so we've only had 2 games within 15 miles of our school. So not many people have seen us. Not many people know about what Osseo boys basketball is going to be about. But the kids are excited. We're going up against the top 5 team in the state with Park Center on our home court, the very first time that we're going to play in front of our fans. So the kids don't want to disappoint. They're looking forward to it tomorrow, but they know that it's going to be a tough task. So we got to outplay and outperform a more talented team.
When you have a team in Park Center that you're going to face quite possibly 3 times through the course of a season, does it make it easier? Like, how's your approach? When you approach a team, is it, we got to try to figure out what they have. We know what they have, scouting and all that stuff. I'm not too worried about whether the W happens or the L happens. At this point, let's figure out what we have versus what they have, our strengths versus their strengths, and just kind of run from there.
No doubt about it. This first game for us, it's just kind of matching up our pieces with theirs. We're not going to scheme too crazy for this first one. We are going to stay true to our core beliefs with offense and defense, and we're going to see how that looks in the first half. Obviously, at halftime, if it's not working, we make the adjustments then and kind of play a different style of ball. But you're right. When you know that you're going to play a team 3 times, you're not going to show them everything the first game. You want to kind of see how your philosophy stacks up against theirs.
I love watching your teams specifically. I year in and year out, the way you defend and the way your teams defend is always you. There's flash, there's some sizzle there, but there's a lot of, hey, we're just going to bring our lunch pail and we're just going to go to work. Through the 6 games that you've had on the slate, can you look at it and can you kind of define, can you see some things there, especially on the defensive end? I mean, I know we got Zach shooting threes and doing his thing. And the other offensive weapons, I know Emmett, has had a good start as well, but defensively, as well as I do, having won 2 state tournaments, that it comes down to what you do on the defensive end. Are there some things there that you look at that you like?
Yeah, at times, no doubt. And right now, we're to the point where we're not putting a complete defensive game together. There are times where we'll play one half of defense and be outstanding. Then the other half will go back to just kind of going through the motions, thinking that we can just outscore the other team without putting on that lunch, bucket mentality where you're just going to outwork it. That's been the troubling part for me right now, just because I know and how I've been preaching defense for the past 16 years here at Osseo is it needs to be done on the defensive side. Our best offense should be our defense. And at times our kids are displaying that, but also at times we're not. And for me, it's the continuation, the development of a team that once they eventually learn that it will take a full 36 minutes of playing complete defensive basketball, that's what's going to give you the opportunity to play in a region final, a state tournament game. We're not quite there yet, but that's good. We still have 20 more games to figure this out.
When you have a chance to kind of, in your spare time, pause for laughter, what do you love most? 16 years, it's a long time to be anywhere. What's the biggest thing? What is there just one thing that you absolutely love about coaching basketball?
I just love the game first and foremost. And I love to show kids what basketball can provide for you, how it kind of teaches them life skills later on down the road. But as far as the coaching, year in and year out, from day 1 to day 47 of practice, the growth. To see the growth of an individual player and kind of see that, individually you're progressing and moving towards our team goal, but also understand that there's this team aspect involved with basketball. It's not what you do on the court, but it's how you kind of help share and shape an identity, and a culture that we've always had here at Osseo. To me, seeing the progress of kids through this whole development is one of the key enjoyments.
All right, probably the toughest question I'm going to ask. Take the coach hat off, put the dad hat on. What makes Zach so special? Scored his 1,000th point of his career at the end of last season. Is just continually picked it up and has been one of the more consistent players during a 3-year stretch in this school's history. What makes him so good at what he does?
Just offensively, he's one of the more gifted scorers that I've been around, and I've been at Osseo now 24 years as an assistant to a head coach. I've seen and coached a lot of those 1,000-point scorers, and Zach is probably the most gifted shooter that I've seen. Doesn't come naturally. He puts the time in for that, and a lot of people might not just see that, obviously, because they don't see how many hours he's in the gym before practice or on a weekend shooting up shots and putting his time in. But it's also about our team style as well. With our offense, we set lots of screens for people, and to see Zach be successful is also a credit to our team, helping him to get open. It's not the fastest, doesn't jump the highest, but his angles are phenomenal. His shooting accuracy is great, and he keeps improving every year. Came in as a 9th grader as one of the best three-point shooters in his class. He's now kept developing different parts of his game so that teams cannot just take away his three-point shot. Now you have to contain penetration. Now you have to kind of stop penetration as he dishes it off. So he's getting his teammates more involved as the season or as his years progress as well. So, for me, it's just been a treat to see him continue to improve.
It's kind of fun as a dad to watch your son find something that they love to do and that they excel at. Whether that can be on the basketball court, it can be on the golf course, it can be on. So I know he's if not a better golfer than he is a basketball player, and that's as a dad and a coach. I'm sure from a combo perspective, it's got to kind of be fun when you have a chance to step back to look at it and to say, that was pretty good. When you rewind the tape and look back a couple years ago, was there a point, not to make this all about Zach, because we're obviously talking about the team as well, but was there a point as a dad and as a coach, you sat him down and said, look, on the road, you're going to hear some things. Mm-hmm. You're going to hear that you're dad's boy and that you're, all that stuff. Did he have to prepare for that? And if so, what do those conversations sound like?
He definitely did have to prepare for that. We worked him in slowly. We just didn't throw him out his ninth grade year and say, hey, you're up on varsity. He had to prove it. And, once you prove it to your teammates, the upperclassmen, you earn your stripes, basically. And so by earning his stripes, he's been able to develop some toughness, some thick skin. And you're right, over the course of the 4 years, he does get those little chants from the crowds, but he's a mentally strong individual. We've definitely had conversations about this in his earlier years as a 9th and 10th grader. But just from his perspective, he's a mentally strong kid, doesn't take things personally. He knows that other teams and crowds are going to try to get underneath this skin to get him off his game. So for him, one of his greatest strengths is to not be focused in on what people say about him. He knows what he's capable of, and he just tries to stay true to that.
You talked about in the beginning, in your 6 games, 5 different starting lineups. Is that just a product of we're trying to find the right pieces to the puzzle? We think we have, there's like 3 or 4 that we know, and we're just trying to find the right, because early on, when you kind of have a team that there are some unknowns, but you have some athletes that you can see filling those roles, is that kind of what it is? It's just kind of, you're just like dropping a line in the water trying to see what bites?
No doubt about it. We don't necessarily have a starting group yet. But I think what we have are a lot of good parts. Throughout all these 6 games, we've had different parts not be there. And so for that, we've had to insert other pieces and expand roles. We're teaching kids and developing kids to be a better basketball player on the court. But no, you're right. We don't have 5 starters. We need to have everybody ready to play right from the start. So we're actually teaching that right now with these kids. Kids understand that they might be called to start next game. And so I'm happy about that. I'm proud about that. And the kids understand that, maybe I'm not a full-time starter. Maybe I need to be able to come off the bench, provide a spark. Maybe I need to be that stable force when I do start. So it is nice, but, obviously as a coach, you do want a starting cohesive group. But we'll get there. I'm not too worried. We're just trying to figure out all these different pieces because in the whole scheme of things, we've only have 3 guys with returning experience.
Right.
We're playing 10 guys in a game. So 7 of these individuals did not play varsity last year. And so we're trying to give them valuable minutes, whether it's as a starter or as a role player, to kind of see how they can contribute here.
What final couple for you? Let's talk Park Center. What tomorrow night, what do they bring to the table?
Athleticism. They have one of the top big guys in the state, 6'9" sophomore, Dane Danja. They have a Division I shooting guard in Jarius Cook. And they have great athletes around them. So they possess that inside-outside dilemma. Do you try to double down on Dane? Do you contain the perimeter players, let the big guy do all of his, or vice versa? So they pose quite a bit of a problem because they are bigger, they're stronger, and they're more athletic than our Osseo team right now.
Can you kind of draw a little bit off of comparison-wise? Obviously, maybe not as good as Champlain Park a year ago with Theo and McKinley.
Yeah, they're not to that point, but you're right. They could be kind of seen in that same class. Champlain Park was one of the best teams in high school basketball for the past couple of years because they had 2 big-time Division I players. Park Center's good. I think they're going to get better, but I don't think they're there yet. And I think hopefully as a coach, we can try to put our kids in a position to be successful early on by taking some of their things that maybe they don't do well, how they defend, and kind of attack certain individuals there.
Last one for you. How important tomorrow night is the start to the game? I mean, is it important that we come out to a good start?
I think so. You want your kids to come out strong. You don't want them to be nervous. Even though we're a month and a half into the season, this is their first home game.
Right.
There's always those butterflies the first time you play in front of your home crowd, in front of your classmates. So it is important to get off to a good start, and I hope our kids are ready for it.